Greetings, beloved people of Trinity and beloved friends beyond. Thank you for joining me for this Friday's reflection. Our beloved doggie, Nevada, named after the Sierra Nevada mountain range, is 13 or 91 in dog years today. She takes more pills more often than I do. After we walked downtown for her birthday lunch, you can teach an old dog new tricks. She tried tofu for the first time. We both showed pretty clear signs of fatigue. She slept in the shade under my table almost the entire time. So I called my personal Lyft driver, Michael, who picked us up. Once home, I soaked in a bath of Thistle Farms bath salts, and Nevi soaked in the sun. While all this soaking was going on, I mulled over the encounter I had just had with a genius at the Apple Store. I needed to switch Facebook accounts. It's a long story, but the point is she clearly had me pegged as an old lady in the first few seconds, even though I was wearing my cool cowboy boots. You know me and my fun shoes. Within a minute, she had taken my computer out of my hands, grabbed is probably a better word, typed away and fixed the problem. I left the Apple Store feeling invisible, helpless, and old, like I was the only one in that store who could remember when apples were just that. It happens that on our walk in town, Nevi and I were listening to my absolute favorite podcast of the moment, called Wiser Than Me, Life Lessons from Astonishing Women 70 and Older, Isabel Allende, Jane Fonda, Carol Burnett, for example. They are not so much being interviewed as having a conversation with Julia Louis-Dreyfus of Seinfeld and Veep fame. Full disclosure, Julia is also married to my younger brother, Brad. She is only 63. It's not just what these women are saying that's compelling, but also how they say it, not only with passion and conviction and humor, and a wonderful balance between pride and humility, but in a personal, vulnerable, mutual conversation with Julia. At the end of each episode, it often feels like they have truly become friends, and they are planning to meet again. Then Julia checks in with her own mother, Judy, who is in her 90s, about how the conversation went, often asking her mother about something that came up, about parenting or growing up in another era, about discovering and choosing to use her own gifts, at one point about wearing her pants reversed. Judy's sense of humor and playfulness and her affection for her daughter are in full display. The apple doesn't fall far. Our dog Nevi is 13. I am 71. My husband Michael is almost 71. My mother is almost 97. I failed the Genius test at the Apple Store. I have to take pictures now of where I park, and I turn to photos to remind me of when I went on that memorable trip, and on and on. So today, I want to reflect on aging. First, the wisdom of Bronnie Ware, a palliative care nurse. In the top 5 regrets of the dying, a life transformed by the dearly departing, she writes about the most common regrets that people have when they are dying. Having been blessed to accompany those who are dying many times in my life as a priest, I too have heard these same laments. You may have heard them too. You may already have them yourself. Perhaps these words can inspire you. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with friends. I wish that I had let myself be happier. Perhaps the most poignant and empowering of all the insights is that happiness is a choice that everyone has the power to make. Rather than feel controlled by their circumstances, whether related to poor health or difficult relationships or harmful childhood experiences, Bronnie Ware's patients saw at the end of their lives that it had been up to them all alone to take back their power and choose their own happiness. Are any of you reminded of a certain famous call in Deuteronomy at this point? Says the Lord, "Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life, so that you and your descendants might live." Choice is one of Viktor Frankl's ideas. In Man's Search for Meaning, he speaks of being in the concentration camps and having everything taken away except one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstance, to choose one's own way. And there were always choices to make. Every day, every hour offered the opportunity to make a decision which determined whether you would or would not submit to those powers which threatened to rob you of your very self, your inner freedom. The way, Frankl writes, in which a man accepts his fate and all the suffering it entails, the way in which he takes up his cross, gives him ample opportunity, even under the most difficult circumstances, to add a deeper meaning to his life. So I want to return now to the inimitable, charismatic, and generous Isabel Allende. In a TED Talk 10 years ago, when she was 71, Isabel talks about living a passionate life, regardless of age. She begins with Mary Oliver, who asks in that famous poem, "Tell me what you plan to do with your one wild and precious life." "Me," says Isabel, "I intend to live passionately." Isabel chooses passion. She says she's experienced loss of people and of energy by aging, but she has also gained freedom and found a deeper, truer spirituality. She says, "My body may be falling apart, but my brain is not yet. I love my brain." She is so lucky to have one. She continues, "I feel lighter. I don't carry grudges, ambition, vanity, none of the deadly sins that are not even worth the trouble. It's great to let go. I should have started sooner. And I also feel softer because I'm not scared of being vulnerable. I don't see it as weakness anymore. And I've gained spirituality. I try to live mindfully and to be present in the moment." By the way, the Dalai Lama is someone who has aged beautifully, Isabel says, but who wants to be vegetarian and celibate. So, dear people of God, dear friends, what do you choose? Do you choose life or death? What do you choose for your one wild, precious life? Perhaps we might have a conversation about this.